Hello, one and all, and welcome to a very comforting, very relaxing episode of the Brewing Labs. Now, for this one, as many people who are going through probably the daylight savings time are probably in our country probably know they're really tired, they're kind of wanting a day off. I kind of felt that on Monday, that's kind of like the video was a little bit delayed, but it kind of got me to thinking that there's some creatures that could have a day off too. And the one that I was thinking right off the bat is Kardur Doomscourge. I mean, look at how hard-working that demon berserker is. That creature needs a day off. And that's the primary purpose of the deck. Now, for those who don't know, Kardur Doomscourge is 2 black and a red for 4/3 legendary creature demon berserker. Uncommon. When it enters the battlefield, until your next turn, creatures your opponents control attack each combat if able, and attack a player other than you if able. Whenever an attacking creature dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain life. Now, obviously, this is a standard deck, so it's going to be one opponent that's going to be attacking us. This is more of an interesting EDH card, since you kind of can do some fun little politics with Kardur Doomscourge. I think even Gavin made actually a pretty cool deck tech of it. Give it a watch if you haven't seen that yet. Anyway, but for Standard, we kind of have a problem, where there's a lot of very valuable creatures in the format that, if we let Kardur be like, hey, come attack me, we might die. Like, there's a lot of Questing Beasts, Lovestruck Beasts, Bonecrusher Giants, a lot of big creatures that Kardur is going to have a hard time blocking. So, we're going to give him the day off and help him essentially make it where the combat is a lot more bearable, let's just say. So, for the curve, we have 2 Blood Cheese first, just good unconditional removal for the deck. We have the Hateful Eidolon as well as the Maya's Grasp package. We have some additional auras in here as well, we'll talk about that in a minute. But Hateful Eidolon, great card. Essentially, if a creature dies with an aura that you controlled was attached to it, you draw a card. Very nice card. Malakir Rebirth is in here to protect our stuff. Just a really nice, cheap combat trick, / also just survival trick. And as you can see here, the way we're going to deal with the more troubling cards that Kardur would have such a hard time combating with, we're just going to give them the day off and make them into frogs. So we're running as many of the, well, almost as many of the auras we can that essentially make our opponent's creatures into less fretty, let's just say. So we have our auras that does that. We have Free of Frogify, perfectly great card in the deck, helps us make a very problematic creature into a 1/1. Kardur can easily block a 1/1 without much sweat. We also running 2 of, I am going to butcher this pronunciation, so forgive me in advance, Ichthyomorphosis, I believe is how you pronounce that. But it's another card, you can even go free with this card, but essentially it makes creature loses all abilities and make it into a blue fish with base power 0/1. So in other words, make it very, not really you want to attack with it, so to speak. And the reason why we want to have these stat reductions is because we have a card in here that will make combat a lot more better with us, which is Revenge of Ravens. Free and a green for an enchantment. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, that creature control loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Very nice when a majority of our opponent's creatures are 1/1s, eh? So, we have ways to also repeat these enchantments, as well as Revenge of Ravens with 2 Mirror Maid in the deck. Kind of one of my little pet cards once in a while, especially if we're running like an enchantment-style deck like this design. We also throw in Elspeth's Nightmare because it's just a great saga for this deck. Helps us remove some early game creatures, as well as exile an opponent's graveyard, which will be very nifty against the cycling shenanigans. We also throw in 3 First for Meaning. We're running a lot of enchantments. We could discard an enchantment we don't need right off the bat, and there's just some times where discarding the 2 cards are not bad if you're drawing 1 specific card you need to build up the board state. Then Kardur's here just help us to essentially make our opponent attack with their little froggy or fishy creatures. We block the creatures with some of our early game creatures. They lose life. We're essentially making it where then when those creatures die, they're going to lose life as well as potentially draws cards. Very nice. We also throw in some late game cards such as Clackbridge Troll. This is kind of like our late game card draw engine. Essentially, they have to sack stuff, so then that allows us to draw cards. And if they lose goats, when they lose the goats, then essentially they will essentially make us draw a card and lose life. And if they lose all their goats, then they have to sacrifice most likely their creatures that have enchantments on them. Very nifty. And then we also have Turgid in here just as a late game control tool, because essentially being able to force our opponent to sack stuff, very nice, as well as just a 4-5 with Menace. Really good, especially with how many sagas are in the format. And then we throw two Valky God of Lies, Tibble Cosmic Imposter. I'll be honest, this is more just a personal test it in the brew type of card. I wouldn't absolutely recommend this. Like, I would recommend stuff like, for example, another way to make your creatures reduce stats, like more of these enchantments. Or even stuff like, I forget the name always of this card, like Caravet. Why do I always get Caravet's name forgetting? Anyway, Caravet the Spiteful is also good in this deck to make our opponent's creatures get -1, -1. Which I would put in this deck if it weren't for the factor that Valky is in the deck. So, yeah, but with all of our other creatures, they don't die that easily, and it does synergize with the goat. So I would say you definitely can try Caravet the Spiteful. I'll make some more recommendations at our deck wrap-up, and then after this, we do actually have a special, after the gameplay, we do have a special pack opening of a Kaldhiem set booster, so stay till then. But for now, let's actually see how Kardur's Day Off fares in grinding on the ladder. Shall we? That we shall. Ba-doo! And our first opponent is Jules Sosen. Okay, well, let's see what shenanigans they're providing tonight. Okay, let's see our hand here. I do like this hand. We can do turn 1 Hateful Eidolon, turn 2 Frogify, keep Malakir Rebirth to protect us if we need to, and then draw into a Revenge of Ravens if we get another land. That's a keep. Let's see what our opponent's playing. So I'm guessing with the sleeves, it's potential Gagari shenanigans. Kitty. Woo! Okay, so we're going to play this on the swamp side. Play Hateful Eidolon and pass the turn to our opponent. Ooh, mono green shenanigans. Okay. Well, we're just going to swing in. We have Malakir Rebirth to help protect our Eidolon if necessary. So with the snow, I'm going to get some snow-based shenanigans. Gagari Snow. Okay. Well, since we have Kardur here, we're going to get this on the swamp, or not swamp, mountains portion. Attack in, abada beep, abada boop. Chipping in and getting some damage. Now, since they're playing Gagari, we do have to worry about stuff like Binding of the Old Gods and stuff like that, so we gotta be cautious. I'm even cautious enough that I might try to play Valky just to fish out the Binding, and not to prioritize our Hateful Eidolon. In that case, I'm gonna get a Swamp. Play Valky. Okay, our opponent does not want us to see their hand. Well, in that case, sure, we'll let you do that, but we're gonna bring back Valky to look at your hand. Well, there's that Binding, as I thought, so mostly they probably just did that to get the Murderous Rider out of their hands. Makes sense. So now they're probably going to play a land and play the Binding, I'm guessing. Probably on well, actually, they probably would do it on the Hateful Eidolon now, since it doesn't really make sense. I'm kind of hoping they play the Binding here. They do not. Okay. Well, in that case, let's make them have a riveting turn. You know what? Yeah. If they want to block, sure. That gives me a card draw, which I do not mind. That gets us a land, which is perfect. So now they might fish out the Binding. Or just ramp. Okay, I really don't want to play my Revenge of the Ravens yet. Mostly because we know they have the binding in their hand. So I'm going to hold up mana up, presuming that we have counter magic, which we do have a few negates in the deck, so mostly I'm just using them, telling them... Okay, so yeah, they played that. We're going to draw some cards. Decline. We can discard a mountain and a Kardur here. Well, let's keep that giant down to size. And yeah, let's play Kardur here. Kardur is probably going to be eating a binding, but we don't really mind in this case. Like I said before, our main purpose is to fish out the binding if we can. Oh, and in Search for Greatness. Okay. Well, we're going to take the 5 here. Because if we draw into a Blood Cheese first, then we can just kill that and get the card draw. Not what we want. We'll get a mountain out of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're really holding on it, so I guess we just have to feed this card to them. They're going to scry with In Search of Greatness. Bottom, that's a good sign. There's the binding, probably targeting a revenge. There we go. We still have another one in hand, so we don't mind that much. It is a little annoying, though. Okay, that's a big bear. Yeah, I think our plan here is pretty simple. We play that, we pass the turn, and hope they don't like what they have on top. Okay, good, they're drawing again. Presuming if our Hateful Eidolon sticks, we are probably going to block the bear, gain some life. Play this. Target our Hateful Eidolon. Is there ever an incentive? I think we hold on that and hope we draw into a jellyfish. But we are going to have to block, no matter what. Obviously, we're going to have to block the biggest thing. And yep, we say good game to our opponent. Show them that we didn't really have much plays, and we concede. Whew, boy, we didn't really just draw any of our gas, so... And we didn't really draw any of our Frogifys to help us deal with the really big threat there, so... Yeah, that happens. Anyway, on to the next best of one, then I'm going to play one more best of 3, and then we're going to go to the wrap-up. Okay, this one's greedy because we don't have any blue, but we do have a Blood Cheesers, we do have a Maya's Grasp. I would say this is one of those circumstances where I probably should have shipped the hand, but I'm tempted. I'm being a little greedy here. Cue Inevitable Downfall due to that. Looks like our opponent's playing green and something. Mono green? Okay. Not punished. I'm kind of tempted to play the Elspeth's Nightmare here, but I think I'm just going to hold up for a first for me. We can discard one Frogify. And we're just going to Elspeth Nightmare Dab, because no. Don't want to deal with that. Anyway, we're going to play this on the island portion. Okay, we're going to see what their hand is after this. Okay, let's see what your hand is. Okay, just a bunch of combat tricks and make your Scoot Swarm big. Okay. I think I'll take out the Trample. And... yeah, I think this is one of those where I would rather remove this with Myers Grasp than Blood Cheese first. That way, then we don't give them any mutate targets, so they have to play the Migratory Great Horn as is, which if that's the case, then we can Frogify it. If we draw a land, we could even Frogify and play Kardur. Perfect. Okay, first, Frogify. Then, Kardur! This is where we hope our opponent does not have a Gym Racer. Is our opponent going to Combat Trick? I mean, we can take the one. And that's perfect. There we go. Now I make it very, very tricky for our opponent to attack it. Well, until they mutate, because this is a mutate deck. Okay, so first, another Frogify. And our opponent was not having it. So yeah, against if you get your Frogify effects, against some of these decks, they can be a little bit conflicted, one could say, regarding to choices they have. Anyway. Now I do want to show this in a best of freeze and show off the sideboard, so we're going to do just that. Ba-doo! 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 Also, I do need to clean out my deck queue and such, since brewed a lot of decks, one could say. Okay, we're going against Berserk. So we're going to be on the play. This hand's not great, but it's not bad. I think it's a keep. Because we can do Elspeth's Nightmare, essentially, is my logic here. We definitely need to draw a blue source or a red source. Okay, what does our opponent want to duress? I will say this is definitely a duress mana when you go into best of free, I will say that. So, we do get our red. I'm going to guess mono black discard from the looks of it. Yep, I'm guessing Turgid shenanigans. Or it could just be mono black control with just early game discard theme. Or Rose? Okay. Well, like I said, this is the card that's perfect against control matchups. Hey opponent, do you want to lose life or discard a card, or sacrifice something? Fair enough, I'm going to play a land. Pass the turn. Okay, so this is a heavy discard control deck. Okay, just one Turgid. I will say, it is good to see people starting to play this card a little bit more, since Necromancer is a really good card to go against specific archetypes. Like, the fact that you can name this and just say, like, Zenith Flare against, like, Cycling and stuff like that. Decent card. I think our opponent's just looking and trying to figure out what our deck is. Not gonna scry. Okay, so a few fiends. I think we played this out first. Force our opponent to do something. If we top deck a Frogify, that would be amazing. Sometimes you gotta love it when you quote a top deck. Anyway. There we go. So yeah, they're going into the Sweeney mode. We remove that. Force our opponent to make a choice here. They play Valky 2. So they were probably just trying to get a pathway to get the red source. Okay. Okay, that was pretty good discard from our opponent. That's... Oh. Okay. And that shows the power of Turgrid's Lantern against control matchups. And now that we're going against control, few cards. I definitely want to throw in the Duresses. We'll probably cut down 2 Hateful Eidolons for that. Tempted to throw in the Krotzers here. With that, I might cut down 1 Kardur. And I might go one of each of these, because we know our opponent is playing Necromentia. So I might reduce these down to where if the opponent, quote-unquote, takes the card out of our hand, they don't take out a lot with it. So, besides that, we know they're just generally discards, so... Soul Shatter might actually be useful in this matchup. Yeah, we'll throw 2 of those in there. Other than that, the only, I think, thing I just now realized, we could throw Clean the Dust in here as well, as a 2 of, as another way of card drawing engine / preventing stuff. And we know they're going control, so we could probably take out these, keep the Frogifies just in case that they do have a threat in here, so let's try it as is. Upon post-reflection, if I was to change the sideboard, I would probably throw in a few, like, Extinction Events or board wipe of some sort. But, that's what Top Deck VODs. You do the experiment and see how you can tweak your deck. And this is a weird hand. The opponent goes first, so they can disrupt our hand. We gotta keep that in mind. So there's an argument to actually mulliganing this, because then, if they discard us, we're at a 1-land hand, which is very, very problematic. So, yeah, I think this is a mulligan hand. This is a lot better. So, we're going to keep this. I think we take out the Soul Shatter. Because if they duress us, the only thing they can access to is technically the Frogify. And they don't Frogify. In that case, I'm going to play Marika Rebirth tapped. See what our opponent does here. They're probably going to flash in the Road. That they do. Yeah, let's do this. There's the red. Okay, what are they going to name this time? That makes sense. It kind of stinks that our Crotos are going to go bye-bye, but upon post-reflection, that does essentially fish out the Necromitria, so... it works. There we go. I'm gonna play this. Yeah, let's play this out. We know they probably have removal, but let's see what their hand is. Yeah, we're gonna take that out. And, well, fast turn. So, pretty much they got the Valakut Awakening to restock. They decided to go with the Tome, though. Interesting. Let's see, we have 2 cards. This needs 8 cards. I would be very surprised if our opponent can get to that. I'm kind of tempted to Kardur here, though there is an argument to just Frogify here and hold up the negate. But on the other hand, I think Kardur is better here because what we can do here is force our opponent to use their Valakut's Awakening, in theory, because they know now that technically it's safe to play. Or they're just going to fish the negate out of our hands. Or there's... Frogify. Okay. The opponent knows they have to attack with that still, right? So yeah, they're just going to draw a card and hope for the best. We block. And then... I think the better play here is just... Well, first things first. Play this on blue. 1, 2, 3. Change this into that very powerful rogue. That way, then, we could swing in for some damage. 9 should be pretty good. They're gonna scry, try to get a card. Well, we'll decline these. Then I'm going to play this. And we are going to make Tergrid into a frog. Swing in. Our opponent needs a top deck. Do they draw their answer? No, they did not. Yes! Splendoroni to the pepperoni. And we even got masteries and some cards. Oh, what do we get? Ooh, we get another Epiphany. Finally, that's my playset. Yes. Okay. So, with that in mind, let's get to the wrap-up real quick. This is Kardur's Day Off. Overall, I do like the deck a lot. You definitely can tweak it a little bit. Like I said, like I mentioned earlier, you can definitely take out the Valkies and put in the, essentially, like I said, I always get his name. I always brain fart on his name. Karavek. Anyway, you can throw in Karavek in replacement with Valky if you don't have the Mythic wildcards, because it does help with stat reduction as well. You could definitely consider putting board wipes or more control-based enchantments within the deck design. Even if you have Lurish, you could also go into a strategy where you just play a bunch of early game control enchantments that are the Frogify, have Lurish to replay those so that Kardur can have some shenanigans. And of course, as I mentioned before, one thing in the sideboard that I probably should have put in is stuff like board wipes, like Extinction Event is one of the more popular ones, or pretty much any destroy all creature board wipes that we have within the both red as well black. We don't really have any blue, we only have like mass bounce spells, but we do have stuff like Storm Wrath in red if you really need to get rid of a board state. Nevertheless, that is Kardur's day off, and in a quick second, we're actually going to open up a quick pack of Kaldhiem Set Booster and see what's in it. So let's skip straight to that, shall we? Bada beep, boop. One and all, and welcome to the pack wrap-up. This is a thing that's going to happen at the end of each deck tech video. I'm going to open a random pack of these 3 set boosters, going to determine by a die, and we're going to see what we get from one of these Kaldhiem set boosters. We might have different boosters in this pile, inevitably, but for now, we're starting out with this just to test it. So, we're going to roll a die. 1, so it's going to be this pack here. So, let's open this up and see what we got. Okay, so first things first, we got ourselves a nice little art card of Redon. Then our Snowland is a volatile featured. There we go. Trying to get the zoom functionality to work on this little thing. There we go. We got that. We got Doomscar Oracle, Iron Verdict, Cloudsphere Carrick, God's Hall Guardian, Wings of the Cosmos. I will say, I do kind of like the art on this one, where it's just essentially more or less just a bunch of wolves looking at a wolf having wings. Okay. Very nice art. Then we got Snakeskin Veil. Then we get our first uncommon, which is one of the Fiend Booster uncommons. Revenge of the Valkyries. A very nice one. When it enters the battlefield, we create an angel, and then whenever an angel dies, we eat it, which is very nice. I'm kind of curious if anybody's going to try to do a Tergrid, kind of like Orzhov Angel list sometime inevitably. That's definitely something to keep in mind. And then we get a rare, which is Tyrite Sanctum. Very nice. I still need to find a brew with this. I've seen some people playing this in like Toski style decks, so it'll definitely be interesting to see this if it sees more play further down the line. And we got a Mythic. Really nice. We got Haunting Voyage. As of this recording, I think I watched Power Dragon did a deck tech with this card. Well, essentially, it was one of his fans who made the deck, which essentially rounds about. Essentially, it's like a Gritz's Giant Brew. Essentially, you put your giants in the graveyard and you reanimate all of them. Very cool brew. And then we get, wow, we got 3 rare or mythics, essentially. We get a Canopy Tactician. Very nice card, especially if you're doing like Elves-based tribal shenanigans. I think I already have 1 copy of my Elves Oathbreaker deck, so that's nice. Our foil is a Broken Wings. Just good draft tech card when you need a draft tech card. And wow, we got a list card. And we got actually a really good one. We got the, wow, that's a good way to start off. We got the Mystical Tutor from the Jace Spellbook, I believe is what it's called. Very classic tutor. Search your library for an instant sorcery card, reveal that card, shuffle your library, and then put the card on top of it. Very classic. I think I can think of a few decks that will want this card, so that was a really good pack. Let's get all the rares out of it. We got Canopy Tactician, Haunting Voyage, Tyrite Sanctum, and that's it for our rares. So overall, pretty good set booster pack. So if you like having these at the end of the deck tech videos, just let me know in the comments. Nevertheless, I hope you enjoyed this pack rack opening, and I hope you enjoyed the deck list that we played for tonight. If you do, please subscribe to the channel for more deck techs and hit the little bell notification. I hope you all have a lovely day. This is LevDev, signing out. Bada beep, bada boop.